She's the midnight mistress of fairies and dark mischief. He's the paranormal beacon of mystic fairs and government leaking. If the dark side had a prom, they would be the king and queen. They live the metaphysical and make a wicked awesome team. From every single culture in every corner of the globe, they creep the lore and legends just to keep you in the know. For some it's hyperbole, fantastical, and myth. For them it's all too real and your paradigm will shift. It's forever Halloween with all treats and no tricks. He's got a thing for witches and she's all Stevie Nicks. So welcome to our carnival of the weird and the bizarre, where UFOs and curses take shape beneath the stars. Sit back, relax, open your mind, and stay a few. It's time for John and Stacey, and do we have something for you? Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your host, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we just passed Mother's Day.
Yes.
So I wanted to say Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
I got to get it on the show too. It doesn't matter how many times I've told you.
It's okay. I've had a very good day.
You're one heck of a mother.
Well, thank you.
So I'm one heck of a mother too, in a very different way. You know, I had a very exciting week. Obviously, we did not do a show this past week. Sometimes life does jump in to the middle of that. We're trying to help that.
Yes.
Quite a bit. We'll get to that shortly. But we had a heck of a lot of things to do. I took Raja and Ariana down to Lowell, Massachusetts. We went to a Ring of Honor show, had a lot of fun. That's wrestling. And it's very strange for me, from being in the business for a long time, to be on the side of meet and greets and stuff like that. But
right.
I've sort of let myself go. And I'll tell you, these Bullet Club guys, they've got it going on. And Ariana is completely in love, like it's a rock star, with Marty Skrull is his name. And so she got to do the meet and greet. It was adorable.
You guys were pretty close to the front of the line.
Oh, yeah. It was adorable. And I did find out something very interesting.
What's that?
Lowell Memorial Auditorium in Lowell, Massachusetts, just a little bit outside of Boston, is absolutely haunted.
Is it?
It is haunted. I seen an apparition in the building.
Oh, you can't go anywhere, can you?
Well, you got to think. One of our theories is about energy, right?
Right.
And when there's a lot of energy in a place. So you've got all the lighting, you've got all the people, you've got thousands of people, right? Screaming, excitement, people like Ariana, just very excited. That's very conducive for an apparition if we believe, which we do,
right,
that it's all based on energy and a spirit pulls energy in to be able to manifest, correct?
Right.
So it would only make sense that if there was a lot of energy going on, that you may be able to manifest. It reminds me of that old video that was viral before things went viral, I believe, late 2010.
Right.
There was a soccer stadium and you could see like a ghost going around the soccer stadium.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I don't know if that was a fake video or not.
Right, right.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I know. And you know, that auditorium, they have events all the time. It's not always just wrestling.
It's an old building. And
it is a very old
beautiful
building.
Architecture. I really enjoyed it. Good times. But we also, me and Raja went to somewhere, another show, but more local in Portland. So it was a very interesting week. We also got out as a family and we like to go explore sometimes. So we went to this place called the Giant Stairs. And, I'm sure a lot of people that are in Maine may know what this place is, but we had never known about it.
We had not been over that direction. So.
Completely right on the ocean. And it's something that took millions of years to create. And it's just rocks and beauty. And there's some really weird trails there. And on the trails, I posted some stuff on our Instagram, Hot Fairy Dam. That really crazy feeling I had on these trails. It's just a weird, in a good way, a weird place. So we got those feelings. It was also weird that it was that it's May and it was in the 40s.
It was like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was very cold.
Right there at the ocean with all the wind. Oh, it was very cold.
So we were driving along and I have this eye for, I don't know, beauty, symmetry and colors and everything. I love to take pictures. So we stopped because there was this boat that was up on the shore. It's a pretty little harbor. And we were walking. Well, I was taking pictures, and Stacey, I was taking pictures of lobster cages.
Yes.
And Stacey was just walking the beach as she does, looking for shells or looking for, whatever.
Yeah, the tide was out a little bit, so I went down like kind of close to the water and just started walking down the beach looking for stuff.
Yeah, you never know what you'll find.
Exactly.
So I go and walk and join her when I'm done taking pictures. Just normal, just a nice little thing, a little stroll right next to, a nice
just a little tiny
harbor.
beach.
And,
Yeah, it's just a little tiny.
So we turn around, and I turn around just because I felt like turning around. I don't know. It was weird. I turned around, and honestly, in the path that we had walked, there was a dead rooster that had been, it looks like, I don't know, like attacked in the midsection or cut or something. There was a dead rooster.
It was very dead. Very dead.
A graveyard dead. And he was in the path that we had walked, but I'm talking a couple of seconds, tops of 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this beach is only a few hundred feet. I mean, it wasn't a huge area. Like, it was right there where we were at.
And it was on the same path that we were walking. Makes no sense whatsoever.
No, because we should have seen it.
I took a picture.
Yeah. We should have seen it on the way down, and we didn't.
We didn't. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
Very obvious. And very strange. I don't know. It was creepy.
Well,
I could tell you this much. We got out of there.
Yeah, well, even the placement of it. I mean, we're talking about a harbor on an island with a bunch of boats and like lobster traps and like a lobster place. Not anywhere for a rooster to be.
Yeah.
Like there's not like a farm nearby or people with chickens.
Yeah,
or,
no.
I mean, there's like absolutely no reason in the world why there should be a dead rooster on the beach in the middle of this, harbor area.
Yeah,
It's
no.
weird.
I mean, it was very, very strange. It was.
Yeah, we were just like, I think we should go.
It was a weird place to find a cock. I mean, it was just very strange. Something you weren't expecting.
Exactly.
Especially as cold as it was.
Yeah, I know.
Just very weird.
It's very strange.
I don't know. But there again, it's us. It's
we say it's weird. It's actually normal for us, I guess.
Normal. It's normal for us to find dead roosters laying on beaches. That's the next T-shirt.
45-degree weather in the middle of May.
Yeah. It's just really just us. And it doesn't matter where we go. Strange things happen like that.
Yes.
So speaking of strange things, I want to talk about something that's kind of funny. So we were talking about doing a Patreon. And the funny thing about this is we wanted to do it for a number of reasons. We wanted to, improve our equipment. We do this all on our own. We, every part of this is completely on our own. And we've never once done anything like that.
Right.
And so we wanted to improve our equipment. We wanted to be able to do more shows. To be honest, it'd be nice to do shows all the time. And, every day it'd be, have guests on and do those shows and have the shows where we just tell, the chilling stories from you guys and have our normal show, and just keep expanding basically. So we've been going back and forth on, whether or not to do a Patreon and even though we could definitely show the levels and, first level, hey, we're getting this done. Next level, hey, we're going to actually just do this gig full time or whatever, so we were, going through all that. And sometimes like we believe in signs and omens.
We do.
And, a very interesting letter came across from a listener just out of the blue. And at first they were kind of like, come on, I can't believe you didn't do a show this
past week.
Yeah, we were waiting for the show and all this stuff. And which we get a lot of those, obviously, when we do have to go a few days without one. But then it's like, hey, I would absolutely donate to be able to make sure we
be able to get
show.
the show off. Yeah. And it was funny that the letter came at a time when we had just been discussing, the Patreon and what to do with it.
Because I had to be talked into it. I had to talk myself into it because I had always said I would never, but this isn't ads.
No, the show's going to be ad free.
Yeah, this just gives you your chance if you so choose, and I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I'm okay with that because it would be nice to improve the equipment, to improve the quality, to be able to go through and even to do this all the time and make it bigger, better, stronger, faster, all that good stuff.
Yes, I agree.
So speaking of that, we have decided to do that with the Patreon. And that's another reason for a couple of days on delay.
We're trying to get that set up.
With the episode was trying to get exactly what we're, get our stuff together. Basically, what are we going to do with this Patreon? We got to make it worth the while. We got to make this something good for us, for you, for everyone, right? And keep expanding the show. So we are going to do it. It will be patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. That's patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. And we've got our levels. Yes, we figured them out. So basically, you can be a sideshow off of the first kind, which is $1 a month, and you will receive a digital certificate declaring you are an official sideshow off and investor in the future of your favorite paranormal podcast. Also, full exemption from any dark spells or curses we would have possibly otherwise casted in your general direction.
That's always good. You
can be a sideshow off of the second kind, and that's $5 a month. You'll gain exclusive access to the ongoing uploading of our back catalog. This includes both the Haunted South Paranormal podcast as well as the Third Side Paranormal podcast. These will be uploaded as probably several a month until the full catalog is available. So you'll it's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's right.
Which will take quite a while to get all those up.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yes.
Sideshow off of the third kind, $10 a month. This level gets you your very own Paranormal Sideshow John and Stacey tarot card. Designed and created by the lovely and mystical Raja, creator of all of our artwork and tarot reader extraordinaire. I may add to that.
Yes.
Personally autographed 8x10 of John and Stacey that is guaranteed to help small children or inquisitive pets be quiet for hours. Personal call out on the Paranormal Sideshow podcast, this thing right here, plus the $5 and $1 content as well.
Yes.
Unless you are currently wanted by law enforcement officers, in which case you can buy our silence for this $10 membership. You can be a sideshow off of the fourth kind, and that's $25 per month. You'll receive an exclusive t-shirt design that is only available through Patreon memberships. The tarot card, the 8x10 autograph, the personal call out, the back catalog, and the certification. What a deal, man. Sign me up. I want it myself. I want the t-shirt myself and the tarot card, by the way, which the tarot card's really cool.
It is pretty cool.
Love it. I absolutely love it. We're eventually going to have a whole deck of the Paranormal Sideshow tarot cards. Kind of funny, Alan Marston, our good friend, makes Ouija boards.
Yes, he does.
Ouija boards. And, he makes some awesome ones. So you guys need to check him out. You can go to Facebook and look up Alan Marston, or you could find him a couple different ways. He needs to set up a store.
He does. Because the ones he makes are just amazing.
He does beautiful work.
You should talk to him about that.
Maybe we'll make it one of our Patreon levels. Just be like, Alan, get busy. But no, we got 4 different levels, and $1 to $25. And I tell you, we like I said, it took me 8 years to do something like this because I am so anti-establishment. But we got to a point where if we wanted to put more content, but limits that we have on what we pay, because we pay for.
Yes, for everything we upload.
Everything we upload.
It costs us money.
Yeah. So we've gotten to a point where we've been having to put extra into it to even keep uploading, because we have some very long shows and, which is fine and wonderful. I would like to have longer shows. I would like people not to be able to say, hey, it can only be this long or anything like that. Plus quality, quantity,
right?
A lot of different things. And to be honest with you, this is what we enjoy doing.
It is. I mean, we have so many ideas for extra things we'd like to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will give us the chance to do that. And,
And we're working on other things outside of this, but it's still with the John and Stacey, with the paranormal.
Right.
We have things that we've hinted around to. Those things are so real right now, guys. It's. I wish that I could just share it outright, but hopefully my hints have done well enough for you to understand.
Right.
But there are things that are being done behind the scenes right now that are out of our control because other people are taking care of this, but it's us that are the people centered in this. And I think you can figure it out. I'm pretty sure that everybody's picking up what I'm putting down.
Right.
But the whole thing about that, it's a double-edged thing. Like, I could talk about it, but maybe it doesn't happen all the way. But it's so close. Okay.
Right.
And we've been working on this for 2 years. A lot of things to that. And we're really excited about it. But there's been a lot of work going on with this. But with the podcast, this is what we love doing.
Yes.
We absolutely adore this, and we just want to do it more and make it bigger and better. And like I said, that's why we set up the levels. We tried to set up the levels for something we would actually do.
Right.
Like, hey, we would like to get the tarot card. We'd like to have the exclusive T-shirt, or things like that. And it's a very different T-shirt than what you would find on our online store.
Yes.
It's a really cool T-shirt actually. So I think we'll have everything up about.
We'll put all the details up on it.
All the details will be at patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. But speaking of all the details, paranormalsideshow.com. That's where you go find out everything you can, even about the Patreon, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
Facebook.com/paranormal sideshow. On the Twitter, it's at sideshow97, which I've been doing some separate Twitter things than just the Instagram, Facebook share.
Right.
I've actually been doing some separate Twitter stuff. And yes, I know it's Twitter. I like to say Twitter. On Instagram, Hot Patreon Damn, it's John and Stacey Edwards. YouTube.com/paranormal sideshow. We've been recording a little snippets for the vlog. So the vlog will be returning, even if it's in little snippet form.
Very soon.
First, yeah. Please take a quick moment to like, follow, and subscribe us. However you listen to, guys, we would really appreciate you going on there, subscribing, liking, leaving a comment. Everything helps, and sharing it with your friends and neighbors. Showcase your inner weird and support your favorite paranormal podcast. And I will say, honestly, right now, to do that, I would do it on the Patreon. That if you really want to support it, we do have the T-shirt store and all that. That's great. But really, the Patreon would be the way, the best way to do that. And just remember that scientists are baffled, and we all know that. I appreciate everybody who has supported us over the years. And support comes in so many ways.
It does.
Support comes from letters, conversation, just showing the love, telling others about the show. You don't understand how much it means to us. And it just really does. And I want to say, we do a lot of jokes, and we do a lot of, having fun. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everyone out there that has spoke to us or become friends with us over the years, or told us your personal stories, your personal paranormal stories, or just reached out and told us, how much the show meant to you. Maybe it got you through something, or you were able to listen to it while you worked, or, or while you drove trucks, or whatever the reason, you were listening. You don't know how much that means to us, because we give a crap about the show, and we give a crap about all of you. And we wanted at the very first to be the people that were kind of the anti people that normally do shows. We wanted to be very open, very reachable, because we were those people,
right?
And we wanted to treat people like we wanted to be treated, basically. So, like I told Stacey, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day, very heartfelt from us, even though it's a couple days late. I just wanted to get that out there. But to everybody that listens, whether you do anything with the Patreon or whether you don't, we love you just the same, and we will continue bringing this show regardless of what happens. And the government could have a shutdown. We could go to a third world country status, and I'll have the shortwave fired up, and we'll still do the show. But speaking of lovely mothers, it's time for some paranormal news.
Okay, let's get to the news.
Let's.
All right, so let's start out by talking about the devastating thing that's happening in Hawaii.
Yes.
We just have to bring it up.
It's so crazy.
Yes, the volcano.
Oh, yeah. It's really a bad deal, man. I mean, you think it's starting to, slow down a little bit, and they get up to like 17 of the fissures.
Yeah, I think that was the last count, 17.
Right.
And they're spewing lava.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just trouble in paradise.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole week was really bad. Like, they knew that it was going to happen because of the earthquakes. There was tons of earthquakes. I think this was like 70 that were at least a 2.5 or bigger.
Wow.
And it started causing cracks, and the lava was all, or the magma under the earth was all shifting. And then, eventually it did erupt finally. And now, like you said, all the new fissures are opening. And I think the count's 17 now. And the newer ones are like spewing. You can look at the videos. It's spewing lava in the air.
Yeah, it's nuts. And
it is insane.
The thing is, wow, the lava level in the actual volcano crater is lowering.
Yes.
Which is bad.
Yes, that is bad.
When it gets down to a certain level, they believe that will create an explosion and will project, because the whole national park there, they have a national park where you can go and safely view, what's going on. That's all closed. They're evacuating people. They're telling people not to come vacation on the Big Island.
Yes, all the touristy places have closed.
Yeah, it's really bananas. And our thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected by this. Any listeners we have out there, we're definitely, the whole community of the Paranormal Sideshow is all thinking of you. But I tell you, this is crazy because, this could completely change. I mean, we might be seeing something very devastating. Not that it's not already devastating.
Right.
But I mean, the warning signs are there that this could end up being a catastrophe. Very bad.
They're actually, like you said, the lava level's going down, and they're worried that means that there's actually going to be another eruption.
Yeah.
And I think they said that another thing they're worried about is if the lava goes down lower than the ocean water table, that if the water rushes in on top of the lava, it could actually cause steam and have it spew rock and ash and gas and stuff instead of just, coming out with lava.
I also seen something about a certain kind of effect that could cause a tsunami.
Yeah, I think it's if the lava or the magma actually gets down into the ocean, because it's heading that direction. Like if you watch where the fissures are opening up, you can see that it's moving towards the coast. And I believe that if it actually hits where the ocean is, I think there's something that happens that could cause a tsunami, which would be horrible on top of everything else.
And you've already got the earthquakes and all this that could also cause a tsunami if they're in the water. Depending on the depth, and a bunch of things have to happen, right? But case in point, is it a paranormal story? No, but we do comment and talk about major stories that affect people's lives and stories about changes in the earth.
Yes. I mean,
whatever that may be.
This could be a huge, world altering kind of thing, because we don't know what Hawaii's going to be like when this is finally over. If people can even go back there, if they can even rebuild, you have no idea.
Yeah. In a past life, we used to sit on a street corner together, and people would gather around us as we told them the news. And I'm sure we were there when Vesuvius went off. And people were like, "Why aren't you guys talking about, Dave's toga party down the street? There was some weird creatures and show up." And we're like, "Look, we really think we should be talking about Vesuvius. We think it's pretty important, because Stacey and I have been together in every single past life, and every one of those has been us, trying to tell people the weird news. And sometimes we were stoned and fed the lions. And
you mean like stones thrown at us?
Yeah,
not like stoned.
Well,
that was a different past life.
Yeah, that was that past life in the 60s, and it was pretty cool. That was right before we were re-brought in again.
Right.
So all right.
All right, well, let's move on to kind of an update. And this is about the NASA announcement that we talked about on the last episode, that they were going to make an announcement. And we did know what it was about. It was about the kilopower. Remember, we called it kilopower.
Right, kilopower.
It's actually kilopower. I listened to the video. But here's the funny thing about this announcement. So they've come out with this new power source that they can use to do, deep space exploration. It's a lot of good things. And they've called it the kilopower reactor using Stirling technology, or Krusty
Oh my God.
with a K.
No, they didn't.
Yes, Krusty with a K.
No, they didn't.
The funny thing about it is there's not even a word for the Y. They've just added the Y on the end. Like if you just did the letters, it's crust. But they call it Krusty.
Wow.
I feel like that the person that makes the acronyms at NASA was on vacation. And so they kind of just went to like Julie in accounting was like, quick, we need an acronym for this project.
they let Jimmy do it.
And I mean, they did the best they could. They're not the normal acronym maker, though.
Damn it, Jimmy.
Well, what kilopower is, it's a small, lightweight fission power system, and it's capable of providing up to 10 kilowatts of electrical power continuously for at least 10 years.
Wow.
So that's enough power to run several average households. So they say if they send like 4 of those units, it would provide enough power to actually establish an outpost.
Yeah, well,
space.
I mean, a lot of times once it's in space, they only need to. I know one of the rockets they have, one of the satellites. I apologize that they have very deep. All they have to do is barely hit, the thrusters ever so often, to get it going. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so with this kind of power, they can actually stay in one place for a long time or go further, and it's really good for those places when they go to the moon and they go to the part where the sun doesn't hit it for 14 days at a time. They don't have to try and rely on solar power. They have this nuclear option. So it was a pretty good announcement, and I'll link to the video. There's a whole video about how it works and all that stuff, and just ignore the name.
I can't ignore the name. They called it Krusty. Are you kidding? How can I ignore that?
With a K. Krusty
It's like,
with a K.
I mean, that's terrible. It just gives you thoughts back of being a kid in your underwear, and when that crustiness got back there, it was terrible. After you get done playing for the whole day,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's definitely not
Don't act like it didn't happen.
definitely not their best project name.
Yeah.
I have to give it that.
No, it's not. Hey, and the weird sound you heard during this was not paranormal. During that last story, I had our little mini cauldron, and I was lighting some bay leaves in our mini cauldron.
Yes.
And it almost became one of the levels on the Patreon.
It did.
Stacey was like, "Why don't we offer bay leaves in one of these mini cauldrons that you can only get in Salem? I mean, you can get them other places, but we would go to Salem to get them."
Right.
So that still might be something in the future.
Maybe.
Let us know what you think.
Particularly cost effective, but it would be fun.
Yeah, they're expensive little boogers. But yeah, it's you never know. The bay leaves. I want to go like pick the bay leaves myself, like somewhere exotic. It's like John brought these bay leaves back from Betopia.
I don't think that's a real place.
It's a real place in my head. Don't ruin that for me.
Okay, sorry, we'll go there.
It's a whole
vacation.
island full of bay leaves.
All right, well, let's continue on with some space news, shall we? Okay, so there's actually another story about an asteroid flyby that is happening in a couple of days. And this is an asteroid that's actually longer than a football field.
Oh.
So it's pretty good. It's named 2010 WC9 because it was first discovered in 2010.
By Willie Campbell?
No, that's just random, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And they discovered it. It was discovered in November of 2010. And they kept their eye on it until December 1st of 2010. But then it became too faint to monitor and they couldn't find it. They had no idea where it went until it has just reappeared and is heading towards us and is going to pass by pretty close between us and the moon. So it's another pretty close flyby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's it. The strangest part to this to me is the fact that was a random name, like random letters.
Well, I mean,
Well, it just bothers me. I don't think anything's random like that.
You don't think anything's random?
It's got to stand for something. Did you know WD-40 stands for something?
Does it?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
Water displacement, and it was the 40th attempt.
Well, I mean, people get names for all kinds of reasons.
So they named it WD-40.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was the 40th try, and they finally got it right. And it was WD-40. A1 steak sauce. That was because the chef for the king in the 1800s, he made this sauce to go on his steak. And the king tried it and goes, A1.
That is not true.
It is. I swear to God, it's true. It's that was a saying back then for something being the best because you got the best. You got the first letter and the first number right.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So that was an A1. Like if it was rating girls or something, it would be like, oh, she's a B4, but no, A1. And that's what he said. I mean, thank God he didn't say, like crackle mittens. And because
I don't think that'd fit on the bottle.
My favorite steak sauce would be crackle mittens, but no, it's, yeah, absolutely. Everything means something. We might not know the name of it, but.
Well, I'm sure it means something.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I'm not going to look it up. It's Willie Campbell.
Okay.
That's what it is. Willie Campbell.
The Willie Campbell asteroid is actually going to come within like 123,000 miles of us.
So that's space close.
It's closer than the moon. I mean, anything that comes between us and the moon is pretty close. And it's actually the closest of an asteroid this size in about 300 years. So I guess it's even closer than the last one. And they said it's not going to be bright enough to be visible by the human eye, but that astronomers can see it, with telescopes. And then there will be like a broadcast on the internet. It's going to happen on the 15th. So, check it out if you want to.
Jesus. That's going to be like one of the, one of the days. I hope it doesn't happen.
Right.
But when you watch those stupid NASA things, it's always like watching golf.
Right.
And I've got all the best intentions of the world to watching these things. That's why I'm glad there are people that are very dedicated on YouTube that watch all the time.
Right.
Right. There was recently a video and just from one of the people that an amateur astronomer. Very awesome video, and this happens a lot, but he saw this craft in space. I believe he was watching, oh my goodness, what was he watching? He was watching like 2 constellations. Okay. And there was a long exposure. He was using a refractor. He was using some kind of Canon, and it was reported through MUFON.
Right.
So he gave exactly everything he was
all
using.
The specifications.
Oh, happily. He was like, I have a camera that's better than yours. It's this. It's always something really nice. And
right.
But there's a 3-minute exposure, right? To get the light from
long exposure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there shouldn't be anything moving.
No, true.
But when he did it, there was this giant craft. There's like 3 red lights. And it was that zoomed in. It's nothing low flying, which would be in our atmosphere,
Right.
There's no way. It was so amazing looking, though, because those things have been captured many times, especially like around Jupiter. There's been a lot that's been captured. And people and the reason that I'm afraid, like I really want to get a camera where I could sit and stare at the moon.
Right.
But I'm so afraid that you'll find me with this long beard down to my ankles. And I can't look away because
you're out there staring at the moon.
I really admire these people that look at this stuff and study it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I mean is going back to it's like watching golf, and I just can't do it because you've got like the guys that are like, all right, now Phil he's looking at the hole, and this hole 3 years ago, Bob, he did really good on this hole. This is very exciting. This is the most exciting we've ever had here at the Masters. We're pretty sure that Phil has polyps on his scrotum, and so it makes it really hard for him to walk around in these khakis. It's gonna make this shot really hard right now. Okay, he's getting ready to. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's very hard to watch this. I can sleep to it very good. And if there's any big golf fans out there, maybe that's the deal, right? You got to be a fan. And I've been to many golf courses, and I've drank a lot of airplane bottles of liquor on said golf courses.
Right.
I had guys chase me off a golf course for hitting them with a ball.
I'm not sure that's the same as being a fan of golf.
Yeah. but when you're watching these NASA things, which I attempt to do, I really do, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, now you're going to see... coming up, we're going to disengage rocket number 42179. This has been the team that has done so much since we had 22.77, and those were a wild punch. That gang will never have a team quite like that again. All right, what we're going to see here coming up probably in 7 hours. We will keep this continuous coverage here. And it's just really hard.
It's very monotonous.
One of these days, though, they're going to be watching one of these flybys using their 19 refractors, and it's going to be like, seems that it's going pretty. Bob. What? Bob, does that look like it's come? Holy Spaceballs! And it's going to be too late because everybody's going to be asleep and we're all going to die. So
what you're saying is, I think NASA could get a lot more traffic with their broadcast if they had a more, engaging announcer.
Oh, get me on there. Just let me get on there with my P.T. Barnum.
Be like asteroid versus the Earth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It would be so much fun, man. I would have animation and dancing Russian bears. I love the Russian bears with the little tutus and
right.
But if we had that like in between, or one live in studio, have you ever seen a bear wrestle somebody?
No.
Dude, that's amazing. They snap marry you. They're really trained well. You go look that up on the internet, guys. Tracy Smothers, a guy that I was a pleasure to work with many times in the wrestling business. He was the wild-eyed Southern boy. He's crazier than a pet coon. But Tracy Smothers versus Wrestling Bear. Go look that up on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, I digress. Go ahead.
I think I'm just going to go on to the next story.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I think that other story's done.
I am flying. I am flying.
We were way off track in the last story. That's okay, though. It's still NASA related. And this is still, I'm just doing all my NASA stories kind of all at once.
Is Wrestling Bears NASA related?
No, but I was just going to
I bet they are.
Sort of, maybe.
Did you say you were going to cut that out?
No. I was just going to kind of go past that.
Because I don't remember. And then I'll be listening. I'll be like, I know there was something I was going to listen for.
No, it'll stay in.
Okay.
All right. So let's just go on to this next story.
Yes.
In fact, all of that's going to stay in. So there you go.
All right.
Okay. So this is about a project that NASA is working on.
It's about a what?
A project that NASA is working on. It has nothing to do with dancing bears, but it does have to do with a helicopter that they are sending to Mars to fly.
Wait.
On Mars.
How are they going to get a helicopter to Mars?
Well, that's what I thought when I first saw the article. It's not like a legitimate, like you're thinking helicopter, not a passenger helicopter. It is a very small helicopter type aircraft, like a drone sort of thing.
Okay.
And they're going to send it, they're going to launch it up there and send it like in 2020. And they're going to try and see if they can get it to fly over the surface of Mars, which would be the first time anybody has sent something like that into space and got it to work, if they get it to work. But they feel like it'll help them to be able to just, discover things on the surface, like go down in craters and, make it easier than just a rover. Going over the surface of Mars.
Absolutely. It would be really cool. I bet that's a cover for something. They're spending like $30 billion on that because they already have like a team up there of warriors that are trapped in a crevice somewhere. Well, it's a very small helicopter. There are pictures and you can look at the link and check it all out. But they are really excited about it. They think that it's going to open new doors for all kinds of new space helicopters.
Exactly.
I can't make fun of the Japanese. This is not an aircraft carriers anymore. No, this is a helicopter carrier. Okay. It looks just like an aircraft carrier.
We're going to need a helicopter carrier on Mars then.
Yeah, or a helicopter character.
Something like that.
It'd be awesome.
So it'll be the first nation in history to fly the first heavier than aircraft on another world. So.
Oh my God, that's the only reason they're doing it. They want to be the first. They're going to be, like
they just want a first.
Like we're the first nation in the world to send a baboon wearing makeup and pigtails.
I bet we're not.
No.
All right. So the last kind of space related story I have, and this one's really pretty interesting, and this is about a bill that is going through Congress where they want to spend $10 million to search for aliens. They have
really.
Yes, the House of Representatives.
Can you say that again slower, but remove your top?
Sure. The House of Representatives has proposed a bill that includes $10 million in NASA funding to go towards SETI to help them expand their search for alien life. Now, I do want to point out that this is just an authorization bill. It still has to pass the Senate, and it just gives authorization. Like then the money would still have to be appropriated. So it still has a long way to go.
Okay. Listen. I'm talking directly to you two, Bob and Dave, that are sitting in this SETI building that looks like a little trailer out in the middle of the Arizona desert somewhere. and you have the big array of satellite dishes that are there, and you have been playing golf all afternoon, or whatever, making out, whatever you guys do. You can't spend this on new games for the room. You can't spend this on. I want you to spend this on actually trying to, find something. No, this is crazy. I've always got that picture of SETI, in my head. But honestly, I don't have the same opinion that I used to. I used to feel like they were government hacks,
right?
And that they were doing their best to cover up anything. But I really don't feel that anymore. I feel that they really want to find something. And the more interviews I've done, the more I've looked into it, I do feel like it's a really good investment and that they're doing some good work.
Well, but it says in this article that back in 1992, there was a SETI initiative that was launched so that they could build more instrumentation and things like that. But then that got shut down a year later. And so now, nobody really wanted to say anything about SETI like it was
Right,
talk about
like
that.
a bad word.
Yeah. So now this is actually due to the representative, Lamar Smith from Texas, is trying to get this going again and really wants this to be done, thinks it's really important. And, it would just allow them to build new instrumentation, collect more data, analyze it on a wider scale. And it's not like SETI is the only people doing this, because you got the Breakthrough Listen initiative and all those things. Other people are still listening for alien signals, but it's cool that this is actually going through the government and that they might actually spend money on it.
So it's very interesting to me. People know about SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, but they don't really know how they would do that, how they would let you know, right?
Right.
And I just recently looked up the procedure that they go through, and I'm going to share that.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Since we're talking about it, and a lot of people always want to know, like, what would you do if you actually found extraterrestrial intelligence, right? So here's their SETI's rules.
Okay.
Number one, any individual, public or private research institution or governmental agency that believes it has detected a signal from or other evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, the discoverer should seek to verify that the most plausible explanation for the evidence is the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence rather than some other natural phenomena like gas before making any public announcement. If the evidence cannot be confirmed as indicating the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence, the discoverer may disseminate the information as appropriate to the discovery of any unknown phenomenon. Number two.
So basically, you can't say it's aliens unless you are sure it's aliens.
And so, unless they can't come up with swamp gas or something.
Right.
Number two, prior to making a public announcement that evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence has been detected, the discoverer should promptly inform all other observers or research organizations that are parties to this declaration, so that those other parties may seek to confirm the discovery. Just independent peer review, basically.
Right, basically.
By independent observations at other sites, so that a network can be established to enable continuous monitoring of the signal or phenomenon. I agree with all that.
Yes.
Parties to this declaration should not make any public announcement of this information until it is determined whether this information is or is not credible evidence of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence. The discoverer should inform his or her or its relevant national authorities. Number three, after concluding that the discovery appears to be credible evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, and after informing other parties to this declaration, the discoverer should inform observers throughout the world through the Central Bureau for Astronomical Telegrams of the International Astronomical Union and should inform the Secretary General of the United Nations in accordance with Article 11 of the Treaty of Principles governing the activities of states in the exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other bodies, because of their demonstrated interest in the expertise concerning the question of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that goes on for pages. And it gets worse. So
basically, you can't just announce it. You have to go through all these departments that I've never heard of before.
So I looked through this. Weirdly enough, 2 weeks ago, because I was just curious. I get curious about stupid things like that. Okay. And when I get curious, I just go looking for it. I'm like, well, it's got to be somewhere.
Right.
So I looked that up and found that on their site. And I was like, and I got halfway through that and I was like, oh my God.
They're just going to confuse them into not being able to announce anything.
This is why I can't work there. Because I would just be like, holy crap. I'd be like, doing like a Facebook picture or Instagram with the signal behind me, and like, look at this, And actually, I wouldn't, but I would want to be out faster than that.
Right.
I think we've proved over the past couple of years, I'm positive that we have proven that a lot of the old reports that we go by, a lot of the old records that we use and experiments that we use are poppycock.
Right.
That people would be able to handle this beautifully. And the reason I say that is a lot of things have come out, like actual evidence that we know is from the government, right?
Right.
And people didn't really care.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people were just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They accept the fact that
they're like, yeah, I think I saw something weird once.
We've evolved to the point where people are pretty sure, because of all the discoveries, all the Earth-like planets that are out there and the infinite nature of space, people are pretty convinced that there has to be intelligent life. And I think at this point, people would prefer there to be intelligent life, somewhere. So they could, so they could actually, talk or find out more about who we are. How long have you guys been studying us? Why have you been studying us? What else is out there? Is there?
Why do we have an appendix?
Yeah.
What's it for?
Absolutely. The appendix question.
The burning questions.
It just stuff like that is very cool. And even from a religious standpoint, I know a lot of times people worry about religion and whether that would collapse. I don't believe it would. I don't believe because you find extraterrestrial life, it means there's no, there's no greater power.
Right.
There's no all-powerful God figure.
Right.
I really don't believe that. I believe that it's all in the way you disseminate the information. I believe that makes a big deal here. And even if it comes out to like ancient alien type theory,
right,
where they were here before and, or we went around, like I believe, on this earth many times, I think people are ready. I think that if we spoon it out correctly, right, I absolutely believe they can take it. What they couldn't take is it being over LA and over Washington, D.C., because you know what people are going to do?
What's that?
Loot.
Yeah, probably.
Because for who knows what reason.
Right.
But that's always the first answer. It's just like, all right, this is John Brokejaw and NBC Nightly News here. It seems that there is a giant spacecraft over top of it's the Capitol building in Washington. We're not really sure what's going. Okay, wait a second. I'm getting something here out of Philadelphia. It appears there's been a large riot start. Okay, in Dallas, Texas as well. Yeah, it seems. Oh, well, Miami, Florida. Okay, Los Angeles. Yeah, it seems that there's a lot of TVs being taken out of stores. And I don't know why. As a people,
I have no idea.
Our first reaction is to pour gas on ourselves, set ourselves on fire, and run through a wall. But I can only imagine that if there are aliens hovering around the earth, that could be one of the things holding them back. Like, we're not sure, sir.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't land.
Yeah, we're not sure if they're going to set themselves on fire or not. So I don't know. It's interesting.
All right. Well, that is all of my space news for now. So let's move on to another story. This is a little bit of an update. And this is about the JFK assassination files. Remember, we talked about those and they were supposed to be released, and a lot of them were released. But as it turns out, some of the additional documents, like 19,000 and some documents, have actually been held back. And Trump did say that he decided to hold those back so that the agencies could re-review all of the redactions, and he's given them 3 years for a further release date of October 26, 2021. Something about, there might be identifiable national security somewhere in there. I don't know. I guess he was pressured into actually withholding some of that information.
Yeah.
Which I think is very strange. I feel like at this point, the only reason not to release it is because there is something that they're trying to hide.
Absolutely.
And they redact it. They're so heavily redacted. The files are so heavily redacted anyway that I don't know what they think they're going to release that's going to cause such a problem.
Well, I mean, dude, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And there are a couple of people that are living.
There are
that I think they're protecting. Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, Henry Kissinger. He's like 94 or something.
I
like
believe
that.
He's one of the ones. Daddy Bush. Just some people that they think, and regardless of, like I said, our political affiliation is ourselves. We kind of believe that everybody's somewhat in the same cabal there.
Right.
But there's a few people that are really deep with JFK conspiracy that think that this happened or that person was there, or
Right.
And I tell you, the president really wanted to release this. He had went on a tweet storm about the fact that he wanted this released. It was time. And it was like one of those, you remember when Clinton got in office, Clinton wanted the UFO disclosure.
Right.
And that didn't happen, right? So they've told him something. They have told him something that say, look, we can't let this out because of this.
Right.
And they've shown that's the only reason. This guy is a cowboy. He does stuff just to make them mad. A lot of times the establishment. And he really wanted this stuff out. And, you could say what you want about him, but I believe that he would, if he said vehemently, I'm going to do this, that I believe he would, right?
Yeah, if he had the power to do it, I believe that he would do it.
So I believe that, there has to be something in there that is, and a lot of people that have studied this for many years, I know when it first came out, that they were going to be released, I seen a lot of people saying, no, they won't.
Yeah.
Something will happen and they will not be released.
Well, it's like you said, if it does have something to do with information about Bush or Henry Kissinger, I mean, those are very powerful men.
Yeah.
And, it was funny. The reason I know Henry Kissinger's 94 is because when I was looking up this story, I just looked him up just because I was curious, how old he was now. And he's still doing speeches and stuff. Like, he's going to live to be 200. I don't know.
Here's the interesting thing is he actually has had some kind of meeting or been directly involved with every president, every sitting president. He had a meeting with Trump. He is somewhere been involved. And you look at guys like this and like George Soros and and these really powerful Rockefeller type families. And we don't talk about that stuff on the show very much.
No.
But I talk about this in life daily. This is a big part. And I never wanted our show to get off the rails from what it really is.
Right.
To talk too much on that spectrum of things because it's a slippery slope.
It is. And we're not really a political show.
No. We try not to alienate anyone.
Right.
So I will say that we are not naive. And I know our listeners are not naive. So for something this long ago to still be redacted, to still be that heavily redacted, it looks like a black, like even though they released it, it's like one page of black, right?
Right.
And it says like at the first,
it says a date or something.
Yeah, and it says the being.
Yeah, it's terrible. The thing is in 3 years when the deadline's up, I feel like if Henry Kissinger is still alive, pushing 100 or whatever, that they're still not going to release him.
If that's the reason.
If that's the reason, yes.
I believe I seen somebody saying that it would be 100 years after it happened because they could push it from the next one to way ahead to where it would be maybe 100 years after it happened.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane that something has to go that long.
Yeah. And everybody has to be dead.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, okay, this is what happened. And by that point, you got to think with history, right? So right now, if something came out and it was it was about 1918. Okay. You wouldn't care that the government did it.
No, because it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And it didn't have anything to do with you or your parents or maybe your grandparents.
And you would think in your mind, well, that has nothing to do with anybody there now.
Right.
But I believe it does. I believe that these same families have generation after generation actually ran everything. And I believe it started a very long time ago. And I believe that these, you can call them what you want. You can call them Illuminati. You can call them whatever.
Right.
But even go look at a map of corporations and how they all go back to a certain number of corporations. Right. It's interesting and like it is a rabbit hole.
It is. It's interesting and slightly scary.
Oh, it's very scary.
Yes.
It's very scary.
And definitely, like you said, definitely a rabbit hole. You
Yeah.
start going down that whole craziness.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Just thought I'd mention that. This is a story I'm going to talk about. It's about a really interesting video I'm going to link to about something that just happened like yesterday. And this is about some seismograph readings. And these happened about 2 o'clock in the morning on May 12th.
Right.
So what happened was, if you look, and in the video, he'll show you, it's this guy that kind of watches all these seismograph readings.
And we actually love his channel. On his website, he has direct links to get all of the readings that he gets. He just has them all in one place.
Yes, on the video. And this one was really interesting because it was like a little hit on the seismograph, looked like a little tiny earthquake. And it started in Maine at about 2:48 in the morning. But the problem is this same blip hit every single reading station going across the United States. It took about 30 minutes and it went all the way across the United States. And you can actually follow it on the seismograph charts. You can see what time it was in what state. And the weird thing about it is it didn't lose any power. It was the exact same hit on every reading station. So it was basically some kind of rumble that was under the ground that started in Maine and went all the way across the United States to Oregon in about 20 to 30 minutes. It is the craziest thing. It is not an earthquake. There's no way, because an earthquake would dissipate.
Yeah.
Or would be more localized.
It was some kind of energy pulse.
Yeah, it was some kind of, and nobody has any idea what it is. It's not being reported. It's not something that's news.
What's interesting to me about it is it could be like, and this is guy. By the way, the guy is Mr. MBB333. That's the YouTube channel. We'll link to it.
Yeah,
but it's Mr. MBB333. But I'll tell you, it's very interesting because people that monitor it all the time, thinking that it's odd. And the way that it, like you said, it didn't lose power, and it took 20 minutes and it went from Maine to California.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a thin line. Like, there was readings in Maine, but there was also readings like in North Carolina.
Right.
And so it was a wide thing, and it swept all the way across, and it shows you all the different states and all the different places it hit. And it was just constant.
And being on a seismograph like that, you have to wonder if that could have anything to do with mysterious booms.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too, because it's unexplained. Nobody knows what it is, and it went such a long distance very quickly.
Yeah, no earthly possible way that's an earthquake.
No.
If it is, it's terrifying because it's something from the Earth's core.
Yeah, and it just was continuous.
Yeah,
so it's very
but
strange.
going from east to west like that, you would think it was just like some kind of energy pulse, something that was registered the middle of the night. Very strange. It's very, very strange.
Yes, and it's not something that would have been picked up because it was small. It wasn't like a huge, like, houses weren't shaking. So it's not something that anyone in one local area would have thought anything about.
Right.
The only reason we know about it is because this guy looks at these readings every day. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And he noticed it going through every single one, and he put it together himself. And so, I find that really odd and interesting. And, you'll never hear anything else about it, but definitely go watch the video. Give this guy a like.
Again, though, one of those guys that watch everything, and they can call him amateur if they want to. I don't like the word amateur because it sounds too amateurish.
Right.
But, I like Maverick. There you go.
You go.
I like that. And,
yes.
It's usually my favorite people are the ones, the citizen journalists that are doing it themselves, and seeing these things. We have a really good opportunity with the World Wide Web of doing things this way and of communicating with each other and more than we have ever had before.
Right. Well,
and, they can't control us like they once could.
No, I like following people like that because it's not their job to do that. They're doing it because they have a passion to do it. So that if they see anything weird, they see anything unusual, they're going to tell you and they're going to pay attention to it because that's what they love to do.
I'm telling you, man, if they ever start locking people in camps, all you got to do is look at my YouTube. And they're like,
maybe I shouldn't have Shouldn't have said that.
Oh, it's too late for me. It's too late for me. Save yourself. But no, I've got hundreds of channels that I watch continuously. And, when I get, usually at night, I will, or when I first wake up real early, I'll spend time just perusing through and seeing what kind of things have been found or what,
Right.
and it goes from everything from sun watching to ocean watching to weather watching to, and
One of these days you're going to be able to put all that stuff together.
yeah, well, I believe it all. I believe it all goes together now, and that's the reason I keep up with all of it the way I do. Because, as you said, there's people that have a passion about the weather, right? There's people that have a passion about crazy stuff with the ocean or the sun or
Right.
just astrology or whatever. I believe that there are patterns that connect a lot of things like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right, well, let's move on. So this is an interesting story, and we've done stories like this before. The last time we did a story like this was back on episode 35. That was in December of last year. And this is a story about the feet that have been washing up in British Columbia.
Oh, my God, no.
So we are on number 14 now.
Oh, wow.
They have recently found another dismembered foot.
Well, at least we have 7 people, possibly.
Possibly. I don't think they all belong to the same person. So it's
Well, not the same person. That'd be a really crazy person.
none of the feet belong to the same people. Gabriola Island in British Columbia. There was a news release that said there was a man walking on the beach and he found what appeared to be a foot inside of a hiking boot, and it was wedged in a log jam. And so he called the authorities, and the coroner service is now investigating.
What the actual hell is going on?
I don't know, because it's 14 feet that washed up in the same area. Now, I know when we did this story last time in December, and when the 13th foot had washed up, if you go back to episode 35, the episode page, there's a link for that story. And if you click on it, there's a big picture of a map that shows you every foot and where it was found.
Right.
So you can see all 1 through 13, and then this would be number 14. And, they'll do investigating on it. They'll try and get a DNA sample, and they'll try to determine the identity of the remains and try to maybe match it with a missing person, but they have no idea what's going on.
It's nuts.
Absolutely no idea. What's so weird to me is, why is it just the feet? Like, why don't any other body parts wash up? It's just the feet, and they're in shoes. And one of the funny things about this article is it says that the British Columbia Coroner Service says that in the previous cases, no foul play was involved. Now, I want to know how they know that.
Yeah.
It's a foot that's been dismembered from its body. How do you know there's no foul play there?
And they haven't found any other parts of the body, right?
I don't believe that any other body parts have been found. I think it's just feet, and they actually have matched some of the feet up. It's in that last article.
That's what I mean. Like, who were these people? Was it missing people?
Sometimes it's a missing person. Sometimes it's, I think maybe a couple of them were people that were on shipwrecks and things like that. Like, obviously, maybe the sharks eat the people and they don't like the shoes. I don't know. But most of them they haven't identified. They don't know where they go, where they come from.
And it's still hitting the same spot.
It's the same general area. It's not exactly the same spot, but yes, the same general area.
It makes you think some kind of alien experiment. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, I know a lot of people were really concerned, serial killer kind of thing. Like maybe he just gets off on cutting off feet and throwing them in the ocean. But that's why they try to say that they didn't see any foul play involved. They don't think that's what it is. But it's just really odd.
How's the cuts? Are the cuts the same?
It didn't say. It didn't go into that much detail. And, this one was just found like very recently. So there's not a lot of information on this particular one. I'm sure if you look it up, there's probably a website somewhere that goes into deep detail because it is a mystery.
Yeah. Surgical precision, or is it like ripped off or? And,
the shoes are all different and it's very strange.
Yeah.
It's just so strange.
It's not somebody just got something against Air Jordans.
No, I don't think it's something like that. But it's just weird. We're at number 14 now, and they're no closer to deciding how this happens than they were at number 1.
No, it's very, I don't know. It's very crazy.
It is.
It is.
I thought you were going to come out with a foot joke.
No. I wasn't even trying.
Oh.
This one is just because of the gruesome nature of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I believe all joking aside, this is strange. This is very odd, and it's so mysterious.
It is. And it's only been a couple months since the last one. So I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Very weird.
I would hate to say something about it because of the heinous nature of it, and I really stick my foot in my mouth, you know. So
at least you didn't make a joke.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It's. I don't know. I would feel very defeated.
Okay.
And just please continue.
Yes, let's just go on to the next story.
All right.
So this next story is a bit of an announcement. Crop circle season has officially started. First crop circle of the season.
Yay.
Yay. Aren't we excited?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm so excited.
So the first formation, and I will link to it. You just have to go to the website, cropcircleconnector.com. They have all the information, the flyovers, the videos, the details, the measurements, everything you want to know about it.
But we're afraid to ask.
It's actually a circle, and it looks like it has what people are calling like this little bug-like formation in it, like a little bug with 4 legs. Looks like a water strider, like a water bug that walks on top of the water. That's what it kind of looks like. And at the end of the 4 legs, there's like a little circle.
Very specifically an odd thing to put there.
It does, but that is what it looks like if you look at it, because it's like a big circle and it looks like there's just this bug there.
The water strider came from our planet.
Well, it's also
It was aboard a rocket that we sent there. We would like them back, please.
It's a very unusual circle. I'll agree. They also call that the Jesus bug, because it walks on water. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of message that's trying to send, or if it's just random.
Oh, that is interesting.
Or it might not be. That might not be what it is. That's just kind of what it looks like.
Oh.
So you'll have to go look at all the pictures and the videos.
That's
and
really,
check it out.
so you think it's a cryptic clue, maybe?
Well, this is, some people think it is. Yes. Like maybe they're trying to send us a message about something, but it happened on May 8th and it's the first one for the year. So I'm sure we'll see more.
So they can send whatever here. They can send something across the universe, and maybe it's like some kind of electric pulse, some kind of EMF, some kind of little drones that they send. They can do all these amazing things with it, but they just give us cryptic clues instead of taking a few minutes and learning our alphabet,
Right.
and putting "y'all are screwed" in a big field. It's like they just want to really make it for people that are really good at cryptograms.
Yes.
Which, like,
Just the smart people.
like you. So I don't know, but it's still cool though, and hopefully there'll be some very intricate ones.
Yes.
That show up this year.
Yes. I always like to check the website and see what's come up and what's
I
not
know
come
you
up.
love crop circles.
I want to go visit one day. Like I want there to be one, and I want to actually go look at it.
There was one very close to a place we lived once. It was very, very close. They had a couple that showed up in the same spot.
Yes. They always start in England. England's like the major place for crop circles.
It must be easy for them to make them there or something. I don't know.
All right. So here's this next story. And this is about, it's kind of like an update. I don't know. I don't think we talked about this before, but supposedly they were doing the study in King Tut's tomb, where like in 2015, this British archaeologist, his name is Nicholas Reeves, he had done some 3D scanning and some mapping and stuff like that. And he put forward this theory that King Tut's tomb contained 2 hidden doorways and that maybe there were rooms. And I think we may have talked about this.
And the room may contain.
Right. And they thought there could have been anything in there. There may be Queen Nefertiti's tomb.
Yes.
They had no idea. So Egyptian officials, however, brought in their own team
Oh, no.
to verify.
Oh, God.
And they have come
Here
out.
we go.
They have come out and said that there are no new rooms, that the mystery solved. There are no hidden chambers, no corridors. There's nothing to see here. We brought in our own people to do ground penetrating radar scanning, and it did not come up with the same results as, Mr. Reeves did. And they did say that a couple other people had come in, like National Geographic in 2016 came in, and somebody else, a Japanese scientist, had come in, and those results were inconclusive. So they, brought in their own team. I think they were from Italy or something like that. And they have determined beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's nothing to see here. Move along.
Of course they have. Of course they have. Because, that's what they always come up with. And, oh my God, it makes me so mad because they always cover it up.
Yes.
They always cover it up.
This story makes me believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is something in King Tut's tomb that they don't want us to see.
Yeah, well, there's stuff all over the place that we should have already been into, and the people that are over the antiquities there, they have always come through and said, hey, they're covering something up, man. They are covering something up. It's been a conspiracy for a long time. They've caught them in lies. It's a corrupt system. And it's just wrong. And they are completely trying to hide things from us. So for years and years and years, and then some more years, at the center of all of these videos, all these stories, all these findings where they would say, oh, no, there's nothing here.
Right.
You would find Dr. Zahi Hawass.
Right.
And he's a famous Egyptologist. He's the one you always see. And he was the head for a long time of everything that they had going on there. He was the minister of state, I believe, of Antiquities Affairs. He got in some trouble. He got in some hot water for some of his dealings or whatever. And they took that away. But the word is that he still has a whole lot to do with everything behind the scenes. And for some reason, he's still on. He probably knows too much to completely let it go. But it's a conspiracy, and it's a conspiracy to hide the truth. It's just like the age of the Sphinx. Okay. Obvious water damage. Right. Or that water was there, which puts the date way back, we're looking 10,000 years or whatever. Right. And the age of everything, really. I mean, with the pyramids, and there's so much still that we could be finding, we could be looking at, we could be doing, and we don't because of things like this. Maybe there isn't anything in there. Okay. Right. But as a whole, there is so much that is covered up and hidden, and it's so infuriating. Because once again, they hope it's kind of like that 1918 thing. Once again, they hope that 50 years go by, they don't think about it. And what are they hiding? Well, they could be hiding who we really are. They could be hiding this all-powerful truth about free energy, which I believe it has something to do with. I believe that the pyramids were somehow involved in free energy. Right. And I believe that a lot of these ancient structures, the reason that they're so similar had something to do with energy. With harnessing free energy. Exactly. And I believe that a lot of the precision cuts that we see on a lot of the pyramids throughout the world, you see like the little notches that are the same. Right. I believe that we had this great technology at one point, and that through the air, you were able to, harness this energy or whatever. I believe it's just stuff that we have lost throughout time. And that if we knew about this, they believe that we would implode on ourselves. Because of the fact we had been risen to these heights at one time. It's just like dinosaurs. I'm not sure that everybody didn't know about dinosaurs. Right. I believe that when the people started finding the bones, okay, and that's not been very long, kids. We're talking within a couple hundred years, we didn't know about dinosaurs. And then all of a sudden dinosaurs are a real part of our history. Right. I believe somebody knew. I do. I believe that there was a few people that knew, but they were afraid what that would do to our minds, our little, pissant minds, if we got wondering about it. You were talking about an appendix earlier. I've got one for you. What about our brain? Okay. What percentage of our brain do we actually use? And it's, why is that? Why is that? I bet that there's a reason. Right. Well, I mean, there has to be a reason why some people can obviously do more with their brains and some people can't. Well, it's like psychic abilities, Exactly. A lot of times that comes out of a tragedy, a near-death experience, something like that triggers that, right? Autism, I know that they're trying to find out more and more and learn, but most autistic children are very, very special. They may not be able to function exactly the same as whatever normal is. Right. But they function very well, and they usually have these amazing abilities other than that. Right. That are just astounding, and we're trying to figure that out. Right. I believe that there's just so many mysteries out there that I think that people know. I do. I believe that people know. Somebody. I believe that somebody knows. A group of people know, like they're secret keepers. Right. And they're afraid of what that would do. The Egyptology really makes me mad. It's one of those places I talked about earlier in the show about the Mavericks. Yes. The Maverick archaeology, those guys are my heroes. Yes. So anyway, I'm sorry for the fired up part.
Well, stay on your soapbox for a minute for this next story.
Okay.
And speaking of brains, this is a story about how researchers are keeping pigs' brains alive outside of their bodies.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. This is a Yale University study. And the neuroscientist there, he disclosed that a team and that he leads, they experimented on between 100 and 200 pigs' brains that they obtained from a slaughterhouse. And it was like within 4 hours of when the pig had been killed, and that they hooked it up to whatever their contraption is. They call it a brain in a bucket as a joke. And they were able to keep the brain, the disembodied brain, alive. Like the cells were healthy and capable of normal activity.
Wow.
So this is obviously, they've excited them a great deal because it allows them to study it, but it's also caused some concern because...
Really?
Yes, because they don't know. And one of the questions that was asked was, is the pig regaining consciousness? Are you just keeping it alive, or is the pig, conscious in there? And the neuroscientist, he said that it did not regain consciousness, that it was alive, but that it wasn't cognitive of what was going on.
They don't know that.
No, they don't actually know that for sure. And it's funny because they were checking for signs of complex activity to see, to try and answer that question. And, they were using electrodes and they were looking at all the brain activity. And he said that initially they believed that they had found such signals. And so at first they were like happy, but they were kind of alarmed that, that was something that they found. But then later on, they determined that those signals were coming from other equipment, that it wasn't actually what they were,
because they'll make them shut down that crap show.
So then he did actually admit, though, that they have so many channel blockers in the solution that they're using that they're not even sure if they really would detect activity if it was there. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because the electrical impulses in the brain are obviously being blocked.
So pigs are very close to humans, right?
Yes. Well, they're very smart. And he did actually say that now that he's the first one to have done this on such a large animal, that it could very easily be done with a primate brain and obviously with a human brain. And of course, there are people like, oh, can we use this for medicine? And he was like, whoa, no. I'm not saying that we need to go there. You can't just start experimenting on human beings, especially when there are so many unanswered questions.
They can use mine. I've told you that before.
Well, one of the fears is, because they don't know about the cognitive thing, what would happen if you took a person who had died and took their brain out of their body and, reanimated it? And what if that person was cognitive, but they didn't have a body? I mean, that would be torture. That would be horrible. I
wonder what level of pain that would be, because the pain comes from the brain.
Right.
So I wonder what you would even...
I don't know. It would be like being in one of those sensory deprivation chambers.
Yeah.
And, you wouldn't have anything. I mean, it would drive you mad. You would only have your own thoughts, I would think.
You'd be in a dream state almost, right?
I actually don't know. I mean, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting thing that they've done, but it's also steeped with lots of controversy. And,
it's the beginning.
It's worrying.
It's the beginning of something.
Yes.
This is the beginning of something. Mm-hmm. This is something that gets mentioned 1,000 years down the road.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is where we figured out to put the consciousness in a jar. It's really scary. I mean, just like we were talking about a while ago, use 10% of the brain. 10%. That's it. That's what we use of our human brain.
Some people don't even use that, I don't think.
Yeah. It's arguable. The other 90%, man. It's like I would like to have studies on the brain. That would be, I know we do, but you don't usually get a chance to study one that's working.
Right. Well, that's their point. Like, they're very excited and they're trying to actually get funding because they want to be able to, because the brain is so complex, a pig's brain is so complex, they want to be able to study it and, see how it works and the electrical connections. They want to map them. And I mean, there's a lot of things they could learn.
If you give somebody's okay, if you get the okay from somebody, like if you sign something before you die saying, look, I'm a scientist, I want to further this,
Right.
I would probably let them use my brain. Just to further it, because of the advances you may be able to make,
I suppose it's the same thing as donating your body to science, right?
It is, But if you were donating your body to Dr. Frankenstein,
Right.
I can see what they're saying.
Right.
I can see the reservations. We need a lot more study on it. We need to know what is happening here. But how do you do that? How do you
You
ever
don't know unless you try it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also brings up ethical questions about, can you do it ethically? If the brain's cognitive, is that still a person? Do they still get rights?
And think about the one thing here, the life after death part.
Right. What happens, for that?
Dude, I mean,
You would be stuck in that brain.
so if the soul leaves the body when the body dies, what happens when you reanimate the body without a soul?
Yeah. I mean, but there was that other study we talked about, the quark people who were doing the reanimating of people,
Yeah.
not disembodied brains,
Yeah.
but, of people. And that was, that's still something they're working on. That's a controversial project as well.
Kind of like the cloning.
But yeah, I don't know, because it's not like we're at the point where they can take your brain out and freeze it and then put it in a younger body, and there you are.
They're close.
But yeah, it seems like that's where it's heading.
I mean, they're close. They're close, with AI, the way AI is going.
AI is getting scary.
It's terrifying.
It's getting scary.
It's gotten too scary. It is terrifying. Some of the things from this past week with Google. And
and their new assistant
that
can make phone calls
It
for you.
uses your voice.
It's crazy.
It uses your voice, makes phone calls, can order a pizza, make appointments, and it even has the mannerisms like, oh, okay, yeah, I would like to have an appointment 3:00, and it knows how to think. It knows how to do it, and if it can do that, man, and plus they just did a demonstration this past week with new robotics. Did you see that?
I think there was
My God.
the robot that was running or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just crazy stuff.
And this is real. This is happening. And what's going to happen when they make something that can think for itself? It's got consciousness, and it's way stronger than we are. It's
Right.
going to look at us as inferior.
Well, I saw an article where they're thinking about trying to use robots in nursing homes to help take care of the patients.
Yeah, how long is that going to go?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I didn't read the whole article. I just saw the headline for it, and I was like, oh, of course. It's getting too much. Okay, well, let's move on. We got a few more stories here. So this one was pretty interesting. This is just a discovery story, and it's about the Dead Sea Scrolls, where
Something I like so much, I wrote a song about it.
Yes, you did. A researcher at the Israel Antiquities Authority, he's a graduate student at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He was scanning pieces of the Dead Sea Scrolls and found some of the fragments had ink that you couldn't see with the naked eye. Like there's actually markings on some of the pieces, and they had not been able to transcribe or even put where they belonged.
They used to order it off the back of like the holy holy comic books, and it was like invisible ink, fool your friends.
Fun at parties.
It's really crazy that he found this. What a big find.
It really is. And the new fragments have been identified, basically biblical books, the books of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, things like that. But there were a couple that they had no idea where they went. So they are obviously parts of an undiscovered manuscript that's somewhere. And they don't know what that is yet. So they just have these little pieces. So it's very, very exciting, actually.
It's probably something that says, there's free energy at the pyramids.
This is how it works.
Yeah.
So
Look behind King Tut's wall. We'll never hear
there's
about it.
instructions on the back.
Giants for real. They rode dinosaurs.
Check in the Smithsonian. You'll find everything.
Yeah, underneath the Smithsonian.
All right. So here's an interesting story. You're going to like this one. This is about a study. And this story I found in the Express. And I don't always take stories from the Express because,
Right.
I don't know if they're real, but I thought this one was pretty interesting. And this really is a study. I did look it up. So it's something that somebody's really done. It is a paper that somebody has done called Cause of Cambrian Explosion, Terrestrial or Cosmic. And it was a paper that was co-authored by a group of like 33 scientists, and it was published in the Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology journal. And so the paper suggests basically that, there was this sudden flourishing of life during the Cambrian era. And they suggest that this happened because of biological life that came from space. And their evidence of this is the octopus.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yes, exactly. So they're saying that the genome of the octopus shows a staggering level of complexity. Like there's no reason for it. You can't trace it back where it came from.
Yeah.
And an octopus is a highly intelligent animal.
Yeah, it's scary.
Highly. They can actually visually learn. Like they can watch something happen and learn to do it.
Wow.
I mean, they can camouflage themselves, change color. They've been observed as breaking coconut shells apart and building shelters for themselves. I mean, just the things that an octopus can do, it's amazing.
Wow, that's crazy.
And, it's almost scary. And so this paper is talking about how this biological, cells were frozen in space and, came to Earth, I guess meteorites or hit. And so basically then the octopus has grown here and is actually alien life, quote unquote, alien life.
That's bananas.
It is. It's a crazy study.
It's very cool. Have you ever seen an octopus on a ship go through a little hole to get back out into the water?
No.
Dude, I've seen some videos on that, like where they get,
It's amazing what an octopus can do. They can get,
They can fit through these little holes. It's crazy. It's crazy. Octopus are, I was always mesmerized by them as a kid, like, sea stories and stuff like that with the giant squids and all that.
Well, all of these traits that they have, the color changing and the learning and stuff, they just appear suddenly on the evolutionary scale. It's like there they are,
right?
And it all happened at this one time, so they're suggesting that that's where this came from. And it's funny that this comes after that story we did recently where people were talking about if aliens did exist, what they would look like,
and you said
it
octopus.
was octopus.
Yeah,
so
good call.
I mean, everything makes a ton of sense about this paper. And I'm going to link to the story, and there's a link in the story to the actual study, and you can go and read all of their evidence and everything
Makes
that they
me want to go talk
put
to
forward.
an octopus.
It might actually talk to you. You don't know.
You never know.
I've always thought octopus were weird anyway. That they look weird and they're scary weird.
Very strange. They're very strange, and they are scary. Sailors, historically have been terrified of them because they come up with so many stories about, the giant ones. And I don't know. It's just...
It's crazy.
That is very crazy, especially since they did
so that's why I got the story.
The little study about what they would possibly look like.
Yeah, that was a totally separate thing, and it just happened to be. And all the movies that have them as octopus, and somebody knows something.
Squidward.
Perfect example.
Yeah, Squidward is a perfect example.
Perfect example. So I don't know. You'll have to go look at the story. It's very crazy. Very crazy. All right. So let's move on to a little bit of weird animal behavior.
Yes, that's been happening quite a bit.
Okay, so this is about a story from Southern California.
A lot of strange animal behavior lately.
Yes, and this one comes from San Francisco, and it's about pelicans.
Ooh.
How they're having mysterious crash landings.
Oh.
So some animal...
Not something you want to crash on you.
No, pelicans are huge.
Pelicans are really big. I don't know if people realize how big pelicans are.
They really are. But animal welfare officials were actually treating 2 pelicans the other day that were recovered from the streets of San Francisco. And it came after, just a week after, some more of them were brought in to a rehabilitation center. And there have been other cases where animal rescue people have had to go and get them off of streets and areas where they just landed and they would not fly away. There actually is a video going around from the Pepperdine University graduation. That's in Malibu, where 2 pelicans just landed in the middle of the graduation and they couldn't get them to go anywhere.
I've seen that. That's crazy.
Yeah, those are big birds. They snap at you.
Little side note, that was the university that I originally wanted to go to.
Oh.
No, I've talked about going to Pepperdine for years when I was a kid.
Wow.
But continue.
Okay. So the spokesman for the organization, the International Bird Rescue, said they just don't want to fly, that it's really unprecedented. They've never seen
They're against it now.
these kind of encounters.
It's they'll be holding signs up next week.
People try to get them to fly away and they just won't do it. They won't move. They won't fly. And the animal rescue people have to come and get them and take them to the shelter.
I wonder why. I wonder what the reason is.
They have no idea. They've said it's a little bit unusual. It's a lot unusual.
Birds know. Mm-hmm. Birds tend to know something's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Birds are so homed in to the magnetic poles that they're able to know the seasons. They know they need to go here instinctively.
Right.
A lot of times when birds first hatch, they instinctively know quite a bit, right? And but really with magnetic forces of the earth, and a lot of times birds will leave before something crazy happens. So there's usually a reason behind things, and for them to not want to fly, you gotta wonder if it's because there's giant cloaked freaking.
I mean, and it's all sort of centralized in Southern California. Like, there's not reports of this anywhere else. So if there's something going on, it's something in Southern California.
It's just really weird. They're protesting. I don't know.
It is very strange. Like you said, there's some big scary birds. Like you can't just shoo a pelican away.
No,
they'll have none of that.
No, they'll bite your freaking hand off. I mean, they're that big. They're huge, and it's strange. And we've had strange behavior of animals from across the country. And you can make things fit your story, right? And a lot of times I try not to do that because a lot of people do that. They try to fit things into their story, right? Their narrative, right? But there has been very odd behaviors of animals now for a long time, and it's really ramped up in the last year.
It really has, because we've done stories. I mean, it's like almost a section. I've got another one here.
We've turned down stories where we've talked about, like, nah, we're not going to do that. There's just, but when you put it all together, we talk about patterns a lot. Right. You put it together, it's a pattern.
Well, I know when I was looking for news, there's a couple different news websites I go to, and I was on this one, and it was like every single story was an animal doing this or that, like a bear breaking into a home, or a moose looking in a window, or an alligator being somewhere it shouldn't be. It's like, like nature's like, okay, we're done. Yeah. We're coming back.
Right.
So I don't know. But this other odd animal story, this one's from Russia's Kola Peninsula, which is in the Arctic Circle. And it's about reindeer. And there's this video, and you have got to go watch this video. It's so creepy that these reindeer are actually walking in circular patterns for
she's pulling it up here
no
for me.
apparent reason. Like just making circles. And they're all going in the same direction. And so there's some reindeers that are in pens. You can see there's like 3 of them there, and they're like all walking in circles. Yeah. And then there's some that weren't in a pen that were doing it also. So it's very strange. And
okay, that makes no sense.
No. And so they've posted this video online. Definitely go watch it. Some people had some theories like, maybe they're trying to protect the weaker reindeer, which
not
doesn't
in
make
these
any
different
sense.
pens.
No, I know. And
there's 3 pens here.
And some people were like, oh, well, it's cold and they're trying to cause friction. But, it's always cold in the Arctic Circle. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just very
No, and for the people that are there all the time to say, that it's not normal.
Yeah, to take a video of it because it was so unusual.
Yeah, that's just very strange. This is one of the strangest visuals I've seen in a long time. You guys got to go paranormalsideshow.com. Please go take a look at this freaking video. My God.
Crazy.
It is nuts. I mean, it looks like thousands of reindeer just going in these circular patterns.
Yes.
They're just walking in circular patterns. I mean, it is close to the magnetic north.
It is.
That's really nuts, man.
It's crazy.
Really nuts.
Okay, so last story.
Okay.
All right, so this is about a thief.
Okay.
In Kenya that was forced to surrender to police after he stole a bag of corn and it got stuck to his head. He couldn't put it down.
What?
So this man named Frank Jaffet. Okay. He went and stole a bag of corn from this woman. She was a farmer. And it was like it says it's a 20 kilogram sack. So, you're looking like
44 pounds.
Yeah, something like that. And he put it up on his back, on the back of his neck and his head. And he ran off and he was going to take it to a friend's house and drop it off and go back and get another one and just steal from this woman. Only when he went to put it down, he couldn't put it down. It wouldn't come off of his back. And he walked around with it on his back for hours.
Oh my God.
To the point where he finally surrendered himself to the police because he couldn't get the sack of corn off. And so at first when I read this story, I thought that can't be right. But there are pictures. And you can see pictures of the dude walking around with it's huge sack of corn.
Okay, so what happened when he surrendered?
Well, the police called the woman that owned the corn. The last thing I saw was that they called her to come and claim her stolen property. I'm assuming since there was no follow-up story that man dies with bag of corn on his head, that she did get it. But a lot of the locals are saying that she had put she had gone to like some kind of witch doctor or done some kind of curse, you know, because he stole it. And that was his punishment. And his punishment was that he couldn't put it down because it didn't belong to him.
That's
so it's
very nuts.
Very crazy story.
It's very nuts. I would like to know if it came right off when he went to the police.
I don't know, because I actually did a thing where I saw the post where this news place had posted it, but I had to do Google Translate on it, so it's a little strange reading the translation. It doesn't come out exactly right. But the way I read it was he walked around with it for hours. He even tried laying down and sleeping a little bit and then getting up, but it just got up with him. Like it just would not come off.
It's so corny.
And it was just very strange. And so eventually he just went to the police and was like, you know, he didn't want people to know that he was a thief. So he didn't want to walk around with it, but he finally just surrendered himself, and they called the woman to come and claim her stolen corn. So I'm assuming that, you know, she did get it to come off. I don't really know, because I didn't see a follow-up story to it.
I mean, my God.
It's crazy.
It's a good thing he didn't steal something heavier.
I know.
I mean, or like garden tools or something.
Well, you know, there's a I know. There's a link for another story.
He stole some cucumbers, and you don't want to know. You just don't want to know.
There's a link on the bottom of that story for, I don't even know. It was something that happened earlier, but some other man stole like some electronics, like a DVD and stuff, and he was swarmed with bees until he returned it. Yeah, like stuff like that apparently just happens over there.
I love it. I love it. It's because they still believe, you know, like we've talked about that before.
Yes.
Belief is a big part of everything working the way it should.
Yes.
And you know, I believe that that's the reason a lot of times we joke about the villages a lot. But I really think that's part of it.
Yeah. And, you know, he was so overcome with guilt over what he had done, you know, after he was obviously karma was kicking in and he wasn't able to get rid of his stolen goods and steal more. So it worked out for the best for her, I suppose.
Yeah. Very crazy. Though. Very crazy. Just that. I love it. I love it because it's so mystical and it's so exciting with curses and whatnot. I've got one for you though. You think that's the end of your news?
Okay.
I got something strange.
Okay.
What's strange? And by strange, I mean one of a kind.
Okay.
And I love talking about things in this part of the world. Off the Chilean coast, there was a weird weather anomaly. We talk about the weird anomalies with the animals. Obviously, there's been a lot of weird weather too.
Yeah, there really has.
For years, we used to watch nonstop. We until it scared us so much, we kind of got away from watching it. But just all over the world, you know, like snow in the desert, right? Rain where rain doesn't happen. Crazy El Niños, crazy. I mean, there's so much stuff. The Arctic blast that would come down, and you know, just look yesterday, 40 freaking degrees, right? And it shouldn't be. Even here. Right. But there's a lot of weird things out there. This one it caught my attention. Two reasons. Because I talked about earlier how I keep up with people who monitor the weather. Then I noticed that I didn't really see this on any of the big networks. But it happened, right? So I just wanted to talk about it. It was an extremely rare Southeast Pacific Ocean subtropical cyclone that formed off Chile. Oh. It was a rare subtropical cyclone. It appears to have developed off the coast of Chile. Up to now, no subtropical or tropical cyclones have been recognized in that part of the world, since cold water typically inhibits tropical development near South America. So it was a strange phenomenon, another amazingly rare weather event, or some kind of people, they're saying, you know, weather wizards maybe. Right. Playing there, a little bit of little harp action or whatever they want.
Oh, harp isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah,
is it?
No, whatever they want to call it. They made it like the harp amusement park or something now that you were telling me about. No, I mean, the weird thing is the system formed in water temperatures that were between 64 and 68 degrees, which is usually not supportive of sufficient thunderstorm activity. Right. That would help create a subtropical or tropical cyclone. It's very nuts. Even they say even if they did form in that part of the world, it would be out of season. Right.
That is weird. Like you really don't hear anything about that.
No, and then there was the question: how rare is this? It may be one of a kind.
Wow.
One of a kind.
That's crazy.
No other recognized subtropical or tropical storm has ever been documented in that part of the world. Unofficially, that is up to some debate. In 2015, a similar subtropical cyclone formed near Easter Island, which is located near 2,000 miles farther west of this week's cyclone. Researchers called it subtropical storm Katie. The Southeast Pacific isn't the only basin where some subtropical or even tropical cyclones go undeclared. You know, they list all these reasons as to why that is and everything. But the crazy thing is, even why isn't there not more being talked about?
Yeah.
With that, I just think it's something interesting that, like a one of a kind type thing, you would probably mention more.
Yeah, I would think so. And the only even close example they could come up with was 2,000 miles away.
Yeah.
I mean, that just doesn't.
Which is cool that it was Easter Island of all places. You know, there could be a lot of reasons that was happening.
Right.
I just thought you'd think it was interesting. And
It's really
it kind of went with, I wouldn't have used it if it didn't go with kind of the theme today, which is they're hiding the truth from us.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see that story anywhere. That's just something that you've gotten off one of your weather watching sites.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, well, that was a heck of a show. And thank you for all the news and all the weirdness and the scary pelicans and the strange squids and the reanimated brains. I appreciated all of it. If you want to find out more about that, you go to ParanormalSideshow.com. That's your address to find out everything Reanimated Brains. On Facebook.com/ParanormalSideshow. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. On Instagram, Hot Reanimated Brain Damn. It's John and Stacey Edwards. YouTube.com/ParanormalSideshow. And be sure to like us, follow us. Well, not on the street or anything, but you can. I mean, just kind of let us know, like really heavy footsteps would be nice. But please leave a review and tell your friends about the show, because we love you so much. And as we talked about, visit our Patreon. It's patreon.com/paranormalsideshow. And once again, I will tell you those levels, the $1 a month, you'll be a Sideshow off of the first kind. You will get the official Sideshow off certificate declaring who you are and investor in the future of your favorite paranormal podcast. The Sideshow off of the second kind, $5 a month. You'll gain exclusive access to our ongoing uploading of our back catalog, Haunted South and Third Side. So you get all the goodies, and you get even the live disasters from the very first of our show that were recorded, but you'll get them anyway. Sideshow off of the third kind. This one's going to get you the exclusive and special John and Stacey Paranormal Sideshow tarot card, designed by the beautiful Raja. Also, you'll get a personally autographed 8x10 of John and Stacey that is guaranteed to help keep small children and inquisitive pets quiet for hours. Personal call out on the show. And, there's another one. There is one last one, and that's a Sideshow off of the fourth kind. And this one, you'll receive an exclusive t-shirt design that's only available for the Patreon members. The tarot card. You'll get the 8x10 autograph, the personal call out, the back catalog, and the certification. So that's all patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. Our ultimate goal is to first up the equipment, get the best possible equipment that we can, and well, not the best in the world, but the best possible equipment that you need to have the best possible sound, and then possibly get to the point where we're doing this thing all the time, kids. We really appreciate, again, all the support, all the love. It's right back at you, and we enjoy looking for all this weird stuff that we look for all the time. It's our whole life is daily trying to find, the strange stuff. And a lot of times the stories are given to us by listeners. And like we talked before, it feels like a family already and a team already. And this is just one step more for the team, really invested in there. But we really appreciate it. And for my lovely Mother's Day wife, Stacey, I'm doing my William Shatner. My name's John. So long for the Sideshow.
Good night.